Hi, and welcome to Creating Concept Vehicles in Maya, presented by Digital Tutors, an Autodesk authorized publisher. My name is Justin, and I'll be your instructor as we build a concept car from the ground up. Now, whether they are featured in commercials or feature films or video games or as part of the automotive design process, vehicles are a mainstay of the computer graphics industry. Now, while building an existing vehicle from detailed blueprints and reference can be a terrific modeling exercise, designing and modeling a vehicle that doesn't exist can give you a chance not only to use a variety of modeling techniques, but to stretch your imagination as well. And in addition to modeling, we'll also explore the creation of believable shaders and textures that we can apply to our vehicle. So before we start building our car, we need to have some idea of what we want it to look like. Now, drawing out very quick thumbnail sketches will help guide you towards your final design. As you're doing these loose drawings, try to think about what kind of vehicle that you want to create. If it's going to be a car, as in this case, what kind of car? A luxury car, sports car, maybe an SUV or a little electric car? And what kind of look or attitude do you want it to have? Aggressive, functional, or maybe just a fun little car? We also need to think about functionality and grounding the car in reality. Because the truth is, we're not designing a car to function in any way, but we do want it to look like it could function, that it could be a real car. Adding bits of detail to ground the car in reality will go a long way in making our concept car believable. So let's go ahead and take a look at part of the thumbnail process that we went through on designing the vehicle for this particular training. Now, the first one that we're going to look at, this quick little drawing, you can see that it's a fairly conventional design. We've got 4 wheels, where the wheels on cars go. It's got a cab forward design, so this large cockpit is up towards the front of the car. It gives it kind of a playful look, along with the kind of smaller wheels that we've got going on here. It's kind of a futuristic look. It's fairly low to the ground, and there are things to like about it. I like some of the lines, but it's a little bit too playful for what we want to do. I think we want to go a little bit more aggressive. So the next one is definitely more aggressive. It's still sort of futuristic. It's got a little bit more of a dragster look and a little bit of a boxier design. We've got prominent scoops here on the back and these sort of really exaggerated wheels, back wheels there. I still like the way the cockpit is. I even like this a little bit more. It's kind of squeezed down. It's not so wide. Gives it a little bit more aggressive and fast look to it. The next one is a little bit boxier, and it's really exaggerated in its proportions. It's a little bit more maybe realistic, but there are definitely things to like about it. I definitely like the way the cockpit is going with these sort of lines in here, and I also like some of these lines that are going along the car, kind of the shoulder line and belt line that are kind of defining the shapes here, like where this is starting to go, this center section here. It's got a positive wedge, which means that it's, if you look at it from the side, it's larger in the back and then tapers down to the front, which makes it look fast, but this shape is really exaggerated, and I don't think we want to go quite so exaggerated with the shape that we have. Okay, so one of the things that we might want to change is the difference in the size of the front versus the size of the back and those proportions there, and the extreme difference in the size of the wheels. Although I like where we're starting to go with some of these, some of the hubcap detail, so that may be something that we can carry forward too. Okay, so there are things to like and things that we want to maybe eliminate. In another drawing here, we've got something that's definitely a little bit more futuristic. It's got these half-covered wheels here. Maybe these wheels could even be kind of floating spheres, and this is kind of moving a little bit away from what we have established as kind of grounded here. So that might be something that we want to think about. It's also, the stance is a little bit too high. You can see that the body of the car, the wheels are kind of it's kind of up above the wheels in a way. It's not close to the ground, so it gives it kind of maybe a little bit unstable look. I still like the cockpit, and I still like the kind of the vents and some of this detail in here, but the proportions are still off. We've still got a very small front end compared to the back, and I don't think we want to go quite so crazy with kind of the wheels and what's going on up there. I want to stay a little bit more grounded. So if we go to the next one, this one is even a little bit, it kind of takes the last one and kind of raises it up even farther, and I could see where this could maybe be pushed into a kind of an SUV sort of design. It's the stance is really high, and you've got these sort of off-road tires on here. The cockpit has sort of remained the same, so it's probably a good indication that something like that's going to make it into our final design if there's something that we keep kind of putting into there that we really like. So this one is definitely more of an SUV look, but it has possibilities, but perhaps not for this particular design. So if we go on to the next one, this is really a departure, and this is just kind of a little one-person, two-wheeled vehicle with a little stabilizer in the back, and just might make for kind of a really fun little project. But I think we want to go with something a little bit more substantial. But this has a lot of possibilities, and it's nice because it's really different. It's not, definitely not as conventional. And so this one, still kind of like this cockpit's a little bit different. It's a little bit flatter and a little bit more. I've got this edge up here. The proportions are definitely better on this one. I like some of the lines here as they come up from the front. But the covered wheels and the design of it, to me, make it look a little bit like a kind of a low-budget sci-fi movie car. So we can definitely take away some of the proportions. I definitely like those a little bit better. But we can just continue on from here. This one is kind of a plan view of something similar to what we'll probably end up with. And you can see this first part, the first version here, has a really large back end. And again, the proportions are not what we want. So you can see that I've kind of sketched in a smaller back end, which gives us a little bit better proportions. We've got these sort of scoops coming out here. And you can see how this cockpit has made it through all of the design process so far, the thumbnail process so far. Okay, so at this point, we can figure out the design elements that have made it through our thumbnail process, as we've sort of talked about. We've got the cockpit area that sort of made it through, kind of the basic shape of the car. We can also nail down some of the aspects of our car. For our particular project, I think we're going to go for a kind of a futuristic luxury sports car. That is, it's kind of low to the ground with a good planted stance that gives it a very stable look. We want it to have a positive wedge shape, so the back end will kind of taper down to the front and give you a little bit of a faster look. And then we want to have kind of some large wheels that are flush with the body, give it a little bit more toughness. Okay, so feel free to modify your car as we go along to better match your own design sensibility. If you want to go through your own thumbnail process, design your own thing. Obviously, we're going to stick to the one that we have, but you can feel free to modify the design as we go along to kind of better fit your needs using the tools and techniques that we talk about. Okay, so from here, we could continue to flesh out our concepts on paper until we have a finished drawing, which in most cases would probably be the way to go. But if your pipeline allows, you can also quickly block out low-resolution geometry to get a better idea of the shape of your vehicle. So let's look at a little bit of that process in the next lesson.